Pre-trip walk around visual. First I'm gonna check the CNG alarm light, making sure it's not red. If it's red, I'm gonna have to contact the supervisor immediately. Next, I'm looking for any leaning, body damage, or any fluid leaks or puddles underneath the sweeper. Moving over to the front, I'm checking my beacon lights, clearance lights, my windshield and wipers, my headlights and lenses, my front grille, my bumper, and my license plate, making sure they're all securely mounted and undamaged. Next, I'm gonna move down and check my dirt deflector. Look at, make sure it isn't bent, damaged, has no missing, worn, or torn rubber, and that it's at a proper angle. I'll also be checking the chains for any wear and making sure that they're in a fixed position. Moving on to the front right side area, I'll be checking my mirrors and mirror brackets, hood latch, reflector tape for the perimeter of the vehicle. Front tire condition, I'm checking for cuts, scrapes, punctures, bulges, bumps, or cracks, making sure that my depth is no less than 4/32. Tread depth, making sure that I'm filled to 105 psi and valve stem and cap are present and my hub seal is not leaking. Moving on to the door area, I'll be checking that my door is operational, that my outside handle and inside handle and window roll up and down and are functional. Making sure my exhaust stat is rain capped, my steps, checking for any oil or debris, making sure they're free, clear, and clean. Moving down. Oh, I'm gonna open my door and turn on my main power battery switch. And I'm gonna move on to the side broom area. I'm checking my working light, my drive motor, tilt adjustment motor and bolt, my air cylinders and lines, my 4-point pivot arm assembly and turnbuckle, checking the drive shaft for any debris, checking my wear ring and turntable, I'm checking my spray nozzles and my water lines, checking my bristle segments, making sure I have 7 with no less than 6 inches of wear, and that I'm leaving a crescent shape 3 to 4 inch pattern. Moving on to the hopper area. I'm checking the hopper door for damage, my safety handles, making sure they're secure, my reflective tape, my hopper safety supports, my warning stickers, my ZERT fittings, making sure my step isn't broken, missing, that it's clean, my battery box, making sure it's securely mounted, my upper elevator shaft, making sure it's free of debris, my upper elevator sprockets, making sure they're not worn or out of alignment, checking my flight chains, making sure they're properly adjusted 2 to 3 inches apart, causing no excessive noise, checking my squeegees, making sure they're not worn, damaged, or bent, and that they do have a maximum of 1/16 clearance. My elevator area, right side, checking my elevator drive motor, my upper elevator bearing, my elevator height adjustment holes and stop pin, grease fittings for elevator adjustment, which is only done by the shop. Moving on to the rear tire condition, looking for cuts, scrapes, punctures, bulges, bumps, or cracks. My tire tread depth should be no less than 2/32 on the rear. Filled to 105 psi with valve stem and cap in place. I'll be inspecting between my dual tires for any debris between the tires. And then I'll be checking the hub seal to make sure it's not leaking and that everything's in good working condition. Moving on to the right side rear area. I'll be checking my pressure relief device, making sure it's capped. Checking my flashers, my light lenses, my working lights. making sure they're not damaged and in good working condition. I'll be checking my fuel door, making sure it's safety capped and my magnetic devices are in place. Checking my shutoff knob, making sure it's red color, and that my CNG gauges only show a maximum of 36 psi maximum. Moving down my drag shoe area, I'll be checking my main broom working light, my shock absorber, main broom lift arm, main broom lift cylinder, my cantilever, my main broom motor, my main broom chain and adjustment rod, my lower elevator bearing, my tow bar and chain, and making sure my drag shoe is not worn or bent. Moving on to the rear area, I'll be checking my video camera, my backup horn, my warning triangle, making sure it's reflective, my license plate, my warning lights, brake lights and lenses all securely mounted, not broken or damaged. My rear doors and latches and hydraulic oil cooler all securely mounted in good working condition. Next, I'll be moving down to my main broom. Be checking my main broom cover, my main broom hanging assembly and pins. I'll also be looking for wear, for even or uneven wear on my main broom. Moving over to the side. Again, I'm checking for wear. I'm also checking my crossbar, making sure my crossbar and pins are in place. And I'm making sure that my main broom bearing is lubed. Then I'm also making sure that I'm leaving a 4 to 6 inch rectangular pattern behind, a sweeping pattern. Now moving on to my water fill area. I'll be checking my water fill lights. My water pump, my main water valve, water pump, main water valve, my water filter, my water drain. I'm also checking my hose for condition and length, 15 feet in length. Then I'm moving on to elevator left side area. The elevator left side area, I'll be checking my my hydraulic oil reservoir sight gauge, making sure my fluid level is fine. I'll be checking my hydraulic fluid fill port and my lube points for my upper and lower elevator bearings. I'll be checking my air tank brackets, making sure they're securely mounted and I have no audible leaks coming from the air tanks. Moving over to the engine compartment, I'll be performing a visual inspection. I'll be checking 5 fluid levels: engine oil, trans oil, power steering oil, coolant, and windshield fluid. I'll be checking my air filter vacuum check valve. If it's red, that's going to indicate that my filter is clogged and needs to be changed. I'll be inspecting my serpentine belt for any cracks, frays, splits, making sure it's not worn or damaged and in good working condition. I'm also checking for any loose wires and hose clamps. Moving on to the in cab. On the in cab, I'll be checking my steps for any oil or debris. I'll be checking for cleanliness inside the cab, any loose items on the floorboard, making sure I I have 3 points of contact. I'll be listening for any audible air leaks coming from the driver's seat. Checking my seatbelt, making sure it's securely mounted, no frays or rips. Making sure I have a daily vehicle log, accident report package, registration, and sweeper report. Also making sure I have my roadside warning devices, fire extinguisher, properly mounted, dated and rated. My windshield and windows are clean and mirrors are clean and adjusted to me. Next we'll be moving on to the startup. We'll go ahead and start the vehicle up. While I'm doing that, I'm going to check that my gauges are operational and make sure I don't have any broken or missing switches. I'll be checking my horn and my wipers. My emergency and turn signals. I'll get out and walk around the vehicle, make sure everything's working. When I get back in, I'm going to check my backup horn and video camera, make sure they're operational. I'm also going to be checking my brake and accelerator, making sure they have a smooth transition. Now moving on to my brake test. I'm going to get out and chalk the tires. Once my vehicle is filled to capacity, which is between 120 and 140 psi, I'm going to go ahead and shut off the engine, leave the key in the on position. And because my tires are chalked, I'm going to release my brake. Starting with step 1, which will be the applied leakage test, I'll hold my brake down for 1 minute's time. And in 1 minute's time, I should lose no more than 3 pounds of air. Step 2, I'm going to perform my low air warning device test by pumping my brakes down repeatedly until my buzzer sounds at about 60 psi. Once that's done, we move on to my spring brake pop-out test. This is step 3. I'll continue pumping down the brake pedal to reduce air pressure. The parking brake should pop out between 20 and 45 psi, but no less than 20. When that's complete, I'll go ahead and start the engine back up to rebuild my air pressure to capacity. And capacity is between 120 and 140. Once I reach capacity and I hear the cutout, I'll go ahead and shut the vehicle off. And then I'll begin my post trip. I'm going to fill my water tank, fill my sweeper. I forgot to mention my water tank has a 360 gallon capacity. But I'll fuel my vehicle. I'll fill my water tank, fill my vehicle, wash it down, hit all my lube points, and then do my post-trip walk around. And that'll complete my visual walk around.